The book I would like to show you is Dynamic Defense of Neil McDonald. Of course, defense is boring, defense is hard, but the reality is you can really save a point, or at least get half a point, and if you learn it, if you learn to resist, it will really improve your psychology, because obviously everybody is thrilled by attacking, but defending means that for many hours at the board you must still find some ideas and resources to beat the opponent, and this unfortunately is very hard. The computers do it effortlessly. They always find that move that refute your attack. The book is made by okay, here we go, by 8 chapters. Here we go, you can see it here, and I would like to start to show you a game by Fischer. Fischer lost in this game. It was 1960, and why did he lost? Obviously he was 17, so a young guy, but you needed to watch the game and understand the point. You will see it from the black side, the side that loses, okay? Okay, the chapter 1 is about centralization, the power of centralization, okay? White is Hunziker and black obviously Fischer. It was played in Buenos Aires in 1960. E4, C5, knight F3, D6, D4, C takes D4, knight takes D4, knight F6, knight C3, E6, bishop G5, E6, F4, bishop E7, queen F3, queen C7, and castle, bishop D3, knight C6, knight takes C6, B takes C6. Obviously there is no comment of the opening moves, partly because the Sicilian is an option, but this is not an opening manual, okay? And queen G3. Here there is the fourth diagram, and the author writes, the 17-year-old future world champion has opened with his favorite Najdorf variation. Here Fischer could play E5 to prevent white opening the lines with E5 itself, right? Because of course if you open the line with E5, this game bet. And generally stabilize the center. Instead he decided to throw in 12h, here he writes 12h6, and only after bishop h4 to play e5. However, as he picked up the h-pawn, he noticed that after h6, what happens? But if you play h6, obviously it's a mistake, right? Because there would be bishop takes h6. And so, what did he do? Because he touched the h-pawn, he had to play h5. that it was a mistake. Obviously, we must understand this is 1960, right? Because today, yeah, Fischer was already a Grandmaster at 17, but probably he didn't have as many chances to play as the young kids have today, the young Grandmaster have today. And of course at 17 maybe he wasn't still the greatest as he was later, okay? And here it says, after h5, even the greatest players can be the victims of momentary chess blindness. This move fails in three ways. Most obviously, it weakens the king-side structure for no good reason. Secondly, it wastes a valuable tempo. And thirdly, it does nothing to stop white overrunning the e5 center point. Of course, you could argue that squandering a tempo and failing to stop white next move amount to the same thing. And in this instance, I would have to agree with you, but I wanted to point out the different way a blunder can be categorized. So, the right move here was probably this, because it would have blocked this bishop. To play this and let him play this is really bad. And it's strange that Fischer at 17 missed this idea, because it's typically positional, right? The importance of the position, that he activates this bishop. Okay, so e5, white takes over the center due to the omission of 12 e5. The Najdorf is great for counter-attacking as black, but compared to less enterprising defenses, it has a low tolerance for imprecise moves, let alone ours of the 12h5 kind. D takes e5, f takes e5, knight g4. A forlorn attempt to extract some value from the pawn move as a base for the knight. Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, knight e4, and queen c7 again. And here he asks, can you see a clear-cut sequence of moves for white to break down black's resistance? Well, it seems that the first step in this position is to remove this knight, right? So you can have a direct line on the black king. h3 is the move, forcing the knight away, after which the black king side can't survive the pressure from white's queen and knight. He played knight takes e5, and here the author writes, facing a strong German grandmaster who Karpov once described as the world champion among non-professional players, there is not much point in lingering on. And here it shows a line after knight h6. And what is the line? So how do you win in this position? Well, obviously it's something like this, right? And then you go on to move the queen here, you know, and obviously you want one of the rooks to enter into the game. I mean, clearly it's a problem. So what did Fischer play? Fischer played knight takes e5, knight f6, check, king h8, and Queen G5. Knight takes D3, and I don't know how, obviously that bishop is a big problem, but at the same time with that move you let this enter, right, enter into the game. So I don't know, this game by Fischer, clearly it's a little strange. G takes F6, and of course, what do you think you're going to play? Oops, right? And now there is this move, after which as white, obviously you give another check, right? Why you give another check? Because the problem is you cannot play this right away and give checkmate because of this. But once you give this check, and let's say, I don't know, he plays here, right? Or maybe he plays here, I don't know, whatever you like. Oops, there is this check, right? And then he needs to go somewhere, maybe he goes here, maybe he goes here, whatever you like, right? Oops, you understand the problem now. And of course, after you need to take, otherwise it's a checkmate, right? Take back, and when he goes here, again, what do? Oops, no? And of course he will do this, you will do this, he will do this, but then, oops, and what does he do? Because if he goes here, it's checkmate, right? So as you can see, unfortunately the game was over. Imagine it was just 22 moves, and it's terrible. It was terrible. Here it says the best way to defend a bad position is to avoid getting into it. Of course, everyone makes error and oversights when the complexities of a game exceeds their capacity to find decent moves. But sometimes a player ends up being tormented for hours when they could have avoided all the trouble by investing a few more minutes on one or two decisions in the opening or early middle game. Honestly, yeah, it's all easy in hindsight. Unfortunately, when you are at the board, we know things often go wrong. Also, when you invest 1 or 2 minutes more because you come out with another idea that you thought it was better, and it's really worse. So what can you do? It's part of life, right? However, again, it's nice to have books like this one where the author show you a plethora of examples, because those ideas then can come into your own games. Okay, so let's see another game from this book and let's enjoy it a little more.